Hello and a good morning, good afternoon and a very good evening to you, the good look with the tube. Hope you're today, hope you're feeling grand and always born in your world. Hello there everybody! Today, everybody, we are going to be re-reviewing the Ibanez WH10 WH. Because it is a fantastic pedal and I love it very much. Did I mention it's the V2? I don't know if I did, but if I didn't, there you go. It's the V2 model. This is not an original. This is the second model, if you will. And this is the one from the first kind of run. I got this for... My mum bought me this for Christmas, actually. On the first year they reissued these things, which I think... Was 2011, 2010? I don't actually remember. But anyway, this is a pedal from back then, and I've had it ever since. And so the reason I want to re-review this, there's a couple of reasons. One is the fact that John Frusciante is now back in the Chili Peppers. Number two is my original review on this was pretty terrible, and It was a bit damning on the pedal, and the reason for that is I didn't understand it, and I understand it a lot more now. And it's always haunted me that I gave it a bit of a bad review, and in all fairness, that really bugs me because I intend to right that wrong today because this pedal is awesome. I love it. It's definitely one of my favourite wah-wah pedals. And in all fairness, this is actually, weirdly enough, this has actually replaced my Vox wah-wah. Weirdly, it's like this weird kind of espionage kind of way. It's kind of like crept under the radar, and now this and my other WH10, which was a gift. So thank you, Jody. Are the only wah pedals I use, weirdly enough. Even though the Vox is still my favourite, the wah pedal I use is the Ibanez. I don't know. And it's just kind of like gone under the radar and crept its way in. Anyway, that's number two. It's like my original review on this was not favourable, and I didn't really do the pedal justice at all. So I'm hopefully going to right that wrong today. And number three is version 3 is coming out, and I will be getting a version 3 when I can afford to get a version 3 to see what it's like, because version 3 has like true bypass switch on it and all sorts of other kind of like, bells and whistles that I don't particularly think the Ibanez WH needed. Okay, so let's do a quick walk around, and then I'll talk about what you need to do to make this pedal work, and also talk about the pros and cons of this pedal. Also, by the way, I didn't do an intro jam today because I'm going to do an outro jam. The Ditto Looper is primed and ready for that, but that'll be at the end. I'll do an outro jam instead of an intro jam today because I wanted to kind of like jump straight in and kind of talk about this, and then kind of like talk about the features, talk about the depth dial on the side, the guitar and bass switch on the side. And also I want to talk about a couple of things that one thing that I've done to this pedal to make it work better. Okay, so let's do a quick look around the pedal really quickly. It's quite straightforward. You got your let's go around here. You got your is that the input? Yeah, input, output, 9V. I'm running mine off a 9V Voodoo Labs pedal power. Just saves on batteries. I don't really like running things on batteries. It gets on my nerves mainly because I forget to change them, and then I go to turn something on and it's dead. So I can't be trusted with batteries because I just don't keep on top of things. Okay, so that's the input and output. I like the fact they're in the top as well. Really, really cool. And then on the left side of the pedal, we've got the depth dial here, which basically is the amount of kind of like boost this pedal has. It's got a lot of kind of gain boost in it, so to say, and that controls that. I always have it on 10. It's just, I think it's the only way to run this pedal personally. And then you got a little switch here for guitar and bass. So you can switch it to a bass wah, which is kind of like a bit more of a woo. Well, you'll hear it in a bit. I'll show you it. It's amazing. And then you got the guitar, which is kind of the John Frusciante sound. But yeah, and that's it. It's really, really simple and straightforward, and it works, and it's awesome. So let's talk pros and cons quickly about this pedal, because there are a few, and I'm also going to talk about what this pedal needs. Okay, so pros and cons of this wah-wah pedal. So pro is it sounds like John Frusciante, which is a pro for me and any John Frusciante fan. This thing is just that sound. Another pro is it's a really, really, really an amazing. It's such an what's the word I want to say? You can express yourself a lot through this wah pedal. It's really expressive. That's the word I'm after. Yay! yeah, it's massively expressive wah-wah pedal. The sweep on this thing, from heel down to toe down, is really, like I say, it's got such a voice to it. It really, really helps, express things, and I love that. I love standing on this thing because you can just leave it in all sorts of different places. There's not a bad place on this wah pedal, on the sweep, where you can't turn it on and kind of like just leave it and kind of like, use it to express what you want to say through the guitar and the piece of music. So it's a really expressive wah pedal, and it's probably one of the most expressive wah pedals I've ever played. The only other wah pedal I've ever played that was this expressive is the Vox V487 or V8719761, the silver top wah is the only other one. But this has that added bonus of having that inbuilt gain boost, which I think is, when I go to play my Vox wah now, I miss it. So that's not good. But is that gain boost on the side, that depth dial all the way up is something really, really special, and it makes it really unique. But I think that helps it be mega expressive. So that's like one of the pros. The other pro is it's really small. So, you can fit it, it's not going to take up a great deal of space on your pedal board. I really like the size of this thing. Number two is the version 2s are made of metal. They're not plastic like the originals. What was going through Ibanez's mind with the original one making it out of plastic, I do not know. Back when the version 1 came out of this pedal, what made them think that plastic wah pedals was a good idea? I have no idea. But because I've always thought if I was able to get my hands on an original WH10, I would take the guts out and I'd put it in the version 2 enclosure. Just because it's a lot more sturdy and because it's metal, it's just better. So that's another pro as well. In fact, it's made of metal and it's built to last. These things are solid as rock. They're absolutely amazing. I love these things. Another pro, like I say, is the features. Like I say, the guitar and bass switch on the side gives you 2 different voices. The depth dial, you can get all sorts of individual kind of sounds out of that thing. Like I say, the sweep's mega on it. It really is. You can actually get to the bolt that goes through the middle to kind of like help it pivot. You can actually loosen that off to make the pedal even tighter or looser depending on how you want it. You can do that on other wah pedals as well, but some wah pedals you can't actually get to that. On this, it's just there. So it's really, really cool and really easy to get to. Like I say, another thing about this pedal which I really love is this rubber pad here, which really, if you're rushing to get to the wah pedal or you just want to get to it quick and your foot hits that, it grips your foot. It really does grip your foot. It's really cool. I love that. It's really cool. Okay, so yeah, it's small, it's compact, it's expressive, it sounds great when you give it what it wants, but I'll get to that more in a minute. That's my phone. I never learn. I will never learn. But anyway, so say the rubber pad's wicked. There's a lot of pros to this pedal. Okay, so let's talk about the negatives. The negative side of this pedal, and the major negative side of this pedal, is it's a diva. Much like its sister pedal, Mr. Boss DS2, or brother pedal, whatever you want to call it. Cohort, if you will. Yeah, partner in crime. It's a diva. You have to give this pedal what it wants, or it will not work for you. And this is where my original review falls down, simply. Because I didn't understand that at the time. I just thought this pedal was just cack, basically. And I stopped using it for a long time. I used it for about half a year, and then I did a review on it and didn't really like. I fell out of love with it, and then just kind of like put it away. And then I got it out again. I don't remember when, but whenever I got it back out again, and I just all of a sudden started to understand what this pedal wants. So this pedal, if you run it for a clean signal, is the ultimate tone sucking pedal. This pedal is awful for tone suck if you run it for a clean signal, which I'll show you in a minute. It hates clean. This pedal does not work with a clean sounding amplifier at all. If it's mega clean, it's not going to happen. This pedal is not for you. If you want a really clean, clean amp sound and a wah-wah to work over that, you'd be better off with the Vox or a Crybaby. The Ibanez Wah is not the wah-wah pedal for super, super clean amps. You need to give this pedal a more compressed, slightly more gained up clean tone. John Frusciante's clean tone, for example, because he's the main, user of this pedal. John's clean tone was never clean. It sounds clean, but it's not actually clean. His amps are very, very, very loud, and because they're very loud, they're actually compressing. And that compression and that gain that those the Marshall Major and the Silver Jubilee are giving are controlling this pedal's volume. Because you've got the inbuilt gain boost, I mean, everybody who's ever played through these things knows that when you run this thing through a clean kind of sound, the moment you turn this thing on, the volume goes from there to here. It just shoots through the roof, and it's horrible, and it sounds atrocious, and it's just not very nice. Whereas, if you give it what it wants, like a compressed, slightly overdriven, not ridiculously overdriven, but kind of like a cleaner, compressed sound, this pedal volume will not jump at all, which again I'll show you in a minute when we get to doing like the sounds of it and whatnot. It won't jump. It will not jump. So that's all. That's what it needs. And once you've got that, no matter what you put in the way of it, will work. Fuzzes, distortions, choruses, phases, whatever you want this thing to work with. Once you give it what it wants, which is again a semi-overdriven, compressed signal, it will work really nicely. You can use a compressor to control this pedal, much in the same way John did during Blood Sugar Sex Magik. But I find we're using an overdrive pedal. I use the Marshall Jackhammer pedal. I find an overdrive pedal better, personally. And I say the Jackhammer or the Tone City Golden Plexi are the two overdrive pedals that I find work the best for the Ibanez Wah and the DS2 as well. Because the DS2 is exactly the same, which I've never reviewed the DS2, and I will at some point after review the DS2. Especially with John coming back in the Chili Peppers, this is a need now. But saying that, who knows if John will even be using this? What if he isn't even using this? Interesting thought. So, that is the ultimate con of this pedal, is its tone suck thing. But that can be righted to a pro if you give it what it wants, like I say, like a compressed, cleanish signal, not clean. That way, it'll keep the pedal under control, and like I say, I'll show you that in a minute. So yeah, the other con of this pedal was the on-off switch under here. It's far too easy to turn on. Like it's just there's nothing there. The little switch, it's like you could breathe on it and turn it on. And when it came, it had well, I'll tell you what, let me move the camera quick, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so I've broken out the torch here, and you can kind of see my little mod that I've done here. Anyway, so there's the little on-off switch, and that is ridiculous. I said it just takes no effort to put on. But when it came, this pedal, this is really not easy to do, but here, where my finger's pointing, this rubber little strip, if you will, there was two of them glued together, well, double-sided taped together. So on that tread plate, on the bottom of that tread plate where your toe is, there was two of those rubber strips. And that was to stop you turning it off and on so easy. But the problem with those two rubber strips is it almost made it impossible to turn the thing on. It was just stupid. I don't know what Ibanez were thinking. It seemed to be like an afterthought. I really don't understand what they were thinking with those two rubber strips. It was silly. It was stupid. So, that was another con of this pedal. But, again, can be righted to a pro if you do what I've done here. So, what I did is I took off the bottom rubber strip. Just got rid of it. It's now somewhere in landfill. It's just, I binned it. It was just absolutely pointless. And what I did is I took one of the feet off the bottom of the pedal. So one of the little rubber feet on the bottom of the pedal, I took it off and I put it there, just in front of the switch. And that is actually more kind of like, you can press that in really easily. And because of that, it makes this pedal work so much easier. You can't just turn it off and on really quick and easy. but it's not impossible. It's really easy to turn on, but it's not impossible. You know, it's not too easy, if that makes any sense. It's really nice. So this is the mod that I would always recommend to people do if they've got a version 2, is get rid of the second rubber strip on the tread plate and get one of the rubber feet or something like this, which is about, I don't know, about 1.5 millimeters thick, bit of rubber, and stick it just in front of the switch. And this way, this pedal will work easier. You know, you can actually kind of like, you know, it'll just work better. It will, because this is what I've done with both my WH10s, and it just makes them so much more usable. It really does. It's so simple. And like I say, then it kind of like changes that con into a pro, which is really, really cool. So yeah, so there you go. That's the mod that I've done to this pedal to make it work. Other than that, this pedal is totally stock. I haven't done anything to it electronically inside or anything like that. It's still non-true bypass, which I prefer. I don't like true bypass wah-wah pedals. In all honestness, I can't stand true bypass wah-wah pedals. I think they just don't sound right. There's just something wrong about them to my ear. So I haven't done anything else to this pedal. It's not true bypass mod. There's nothing else. That is the only mod I've done to it, and it's only an aesthetic thing. The switch is original. All the components inside are original. It's just stock. The only thing I've done is remove the second rubber strip, and put one of the rubber feet off the bottom of the pedal onto the kind of the base of the pedal there. So when the pedal comes down, you can kind of see they both kind of connect. Hopefully you can kind of see if I get it right. And that in the process of doing that just makes it just work better. It's just so much better. So that's the mod I'd recommend anybody who's got a version 2 do. It just makes it work so much easier. It makes it easy to turn on, but not too easy. If you know what I mean. You can't just kind of like, you know, you have to deliberately stamp on it. Well, not hard or anything like that, but you know, you do have to deliberately turn it on and off. It's not ridiculously hard to turn on. It's not too easy to turn on. It's just right. So that's the mod I'd recommend. So I think that's enough gibbing and gabbing about pros and cons. Let's get into some noises. Okay, so welcome to Sock Cam, everybody. So for this, I'm just going to show you some of the sound examples. We're going to mess around with the depth dial on the side, the guitar and bass dial, and I'm going to show you the sweep, and also show you that diva thing that I'm on about with what it wants. So at this point in time, none of these pedals are on. So the Ibanez is on its own, and this is just the Marshall MG clean. Nothing wrong with that. Sounds alright. It's a little bit dull. For some reason, this pedal, when you run it into a clean sound, it increases low end and like a low mid. So it kind of makes it a bit clunky and really boomy. So it's not particularly, you know, it's an okay clean tone, but it's not great. But, dun dun dun, hold your ears, everybody. Now, if I engage the Ibanez wah with the depth dial all the way up on this sound, this is what happens, and it will peak the camera. Hopefully it won't distort too much, but if I just show you. You can hear that huge volume jump. And it's just peaking the camera out because the volume jump, I don't know how well that volume jump will come out on video, like, but hopefully you can kind of hear it. It just peaks the camera immediately. So that is horrible. And it sounds bad as well. I mean, it just sounds shrill and gnarly, and it's just... The toe down position is horrific. The toe, the heel back is just, is probably the better position. But it's not a nice sound. It's just not a nice sound, and that volume jump is just atrocious. And you can kind of hear how dull the amp is, actually. If I go to bridge pickup, it's just dull, lifeless. That isn't adding anything. And this is where my original review fell down. And this is where a lot of people got confused, including me, of what this pedal needs. Now, let's put the jackhammer on. So now, this pedal is happier because we've given it a more distorted signal. So the jackhammer's on now. So it's gone from this to this. You know, you can hopefully you can kind of hear the difference. Like that's really, you know, Hank Marvin clean, and this is John Frusciante. You can kind of hear that distortion in there. You know, you can kind of hear that kind of, you know, it's a little bit more distorted, but it's still clean, but it's not. Okay, so now, engaging the Ibanez WH, because it's now got this compressed, semi-dirty signal, dirty clean tone, there you go. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. Now, there won't be a volume jump. And I'm watching the levels on the camera as I do this, and the levels are going nowhere. They're getting that level there is the exact same level as that, and that now is the Ibanez WH toe down all the way on. So if I turn the jackhammer off now, we're back to Shrill Town. It just sounds rubbish. Add in the jackhammer. So that's what this pedal needs, much in the same way as the Boss DS2 here, because the DS2 works in exactly the same way. If I give the DS2 a clean signal, hold your ears, immediately volume is through the roof and it sounds rubbish. Give the DS2 what do they call it? A dirty clean sound. No volume jump, and immediately more lovely violin-y tone. Same with the Ibanez. There's no volume jump. So, and this is something I didn't understand in my first review, and hopefully, you know, this video will right that wrong, because it was a wrong, and it was me just basically not understanding the pedal enough. And now I do. Hopefully, this will right that video. And with version 3 coming out, it'll prove that if you can't get a version 3 and you can get hold of one of these, then I don't know if these will be superior. I really want to know if the version 3 is any better, or is it, you know, whatever. So anyway, so yeah, giving it a dirty clean tone makes it happy. You know, it's not happy until. And I say, it's got such an immense sweep on it. So let's talk about the sweep. It's really expressive. I mean, this is heel back, and I'll go all the way forward. You can hear it's got a massive sweep. And it's because of that massive sweep, it makes it really expressive. So when you're kind of like hitting a bend, that if you push it up from heel down to toe down, it really makes that note sing in a way that I find a Crybaby won't do. And it's one of those wah pedals where you can kind of leave in a position if you kind of put it halfway, and it just sounds really nice just to leave it there. Even toe down, it's not particularly hard. You know, it's not horrific, and that's on the bridge pickup on my Strat, so it's not horrific. So, and like I say, anything you put in front of it now or behind it or whatever, it will work for that kind of like, it'll just work. So if I put a fuzz on, it works. DS2 works best. Neck pickle. This wah pedal is just wicked. I love it so much. It's so good. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so giving it what it wants makes it behave. So let's and there's one other thing I want to talk about after I've done the features, and then we'll just jam out. So the last thing I want to talk about, that's the guitar wah. This is the bass wah. I love this. It sounds amazing. It's really vocal. I mean, how can you not love that sound? So that's the bass wah. Going back to the guitar. So this is the depth dial. So far I've had the depth dial on 10. So that's all the way up. So now turning the depth dial down to 3/4. So this is at 3 o'clock. It's not a massive difference, but there is a slight difference. This is now the depth dial at a half, and this is where Ibanez says this is kind of like akin to a crybaby. It's still better than a crybaby to me. So you're getting a bit less kind of as we go. So now moving it down to 9 o'clock, which is 1/4. It's kind of like really nice, like room stuff. And this is depth all the way down now. So there's not much wah really. It's not really very. There's not much expression in it. You have to be quite drastic with your foot movements with it there. So that's the depth dial. I always run on 10 because I think that's where this pedal sings better. And so that's it. So. And again, it's just a very simple wah. If you give it that dirty clean tone, it'll behave itself. Like I say, you can use a compressor pedal, but I would, in all fairness, I would recommend something like an overdrive pedal, like a jackhammer or a golden plexi. But they make it behave better. It sounds like compressor sounds makes it behave really nicely, but it can still be a bit nasty with a compressor. Whereas with an overdrive pedal, that dirty clean tone, it just sounds a bit more John. You know what I mean? It's just got a bit more of that John Frusciante characteristic with overdrive. Okay, so last thing I want to talk about is signal chain. Where's best to put this in signal chain? And then we'll just do an outro jam, and then we'll go crazy on the Ibanez and the DS2. For the outro jam, I'll probably use delay, DS2 and Ibanez wah, maybe fuzz, I don't know. I'll put the camera so you can see what I'm doing with the pedals. I'll put it over in the corner so you can see what I'm doing with my pedal board. I probably won't use the governor, but we'll see. You never know. So let me talk about signal chain really quickly, and then we'll just have a giggle. Okay, so this works better with the overdrive on the output side. So you want to be going. I don't know if I'm doing this the right way. I always get told I'm doing it the wrong way, but it's the only way I know to do it. So you want to be coming from your amp. So amp is number one. From your amp into your overdrive dirty clean tone, and you can also use your amp to control this thing as well. I prefer to use a pedal, but you can use an amp to control this. If you get a dirty clean tone on your amp, it will do the exact same thing of controlling this thing. It'll just do it that way. That's how John Frusciante does it. John Frusciante uses his amps more than the CE1 or any other pedal to control the Ibanez WH and the DS2. John uses his amps. But I prefer to use a pedal myself. I prefer getting the sound from pedals myself. But you can do everything I've just shown. You can use with an amp, but you need a dirty clean tone. Don't use a clean channel. Do not use a clean channel. Use a distortion channel. Just run the gain super low. Okay, so if you're not using your amp and you're using your pedals, we're going from your amp into your overdrive pedal, and then from the overdrive pedal into the wah-wah, into the Ibanez. It doesn't work the other way around. You need it this way around. It has to be amp, overdrive, Ibanez wah, and then to any other pedal. To get that crazy John Frusciante white noise wah-wah sound, you need the DS2 or the fuzz pedal on the input side of the Ibanez. So it has to be amp, overdrive, Ibanez wah, and then DS2. That'll give you the John Frusciante white noise tone. That's where John Frusciante ran his pedals to get that sound. That Danny California end of the solo sound. That's the way you have to do it. There's no other way to do it. If you run a distortion pedal on the basically after the overdrive, so it goes amp, overdrive, DS2, Ibanez wah, it won't do that. You will get a Mother's Milk era John Frusciante wah-wah tone, because that's the way John ran it during Mother's Milk era. But you won't get the Californication, by the way, Stadium Arcadium era John wah-wah tone. You just won't get it. It needs to be on the other side of it. So amp, overdrive pedal, wah-wah pedal, DS2 fuzz pedal to your guitar. And if you're using your amp, like I said, use a distortion channel or a dirty channel or an overdrive channel on your amp. And if your amp doesn't have an overdrive channel, if it's a single channel amp, then get a pedal to do it. But if your amp does have a dirty channel, for instance, on my Marshall MGs, I would just run it in OD1, so overdrive 1, and then it would basically come from the amp into the Ibanez wah, DS2 to my guitar, and it works exactly the same. There's no difference. You don't get the volume jump because your amp is basically taking the place of the pedal, and it's just compressing and distorting, giving it that dirty clean tone. So that's it. So and that is key to that kind of John wah-wah white noise kind of tone. And also it's key to have, like I say, the overdrive on that side of the wah-wah pedal, otherwise it won't work. If this is on the input side of the wah-wah pedal, it won't work. It'll just kind of, this'll still volume jump. You need it amp, overdrive, then wah. It can't be amp, wah, and overdrive. It has to be amp, overdrive, and then wah. And then you can put your distortions after that. So that's it. So that's the last thing I want to talk about, really. But like I say, I hope this re-review does this pedal more justice, because the V2 Ibanez wah is stunning. I love this wah pedal so much. Like I say, it's actually wormed its way into being my number one wah pedal over my Vox. I use these more than I use my Vox. I mean, I don't. And weirdly enough, I did a gig just before Christmas with my Vox wah pedal, and I stood on it. And I was like, I missed the overdrive. I missed that boost this pedal has. And I was just like, oh no. I was like, no, how dare you do this to me? So it's wormed its way in, like under the radar. It's just kind of crept in under the fence. So yeah, and again, with on my other little pedal board, the Ibanez wah's on there again, thanks to Jody. And yeah, it's just unreal to me. It's actually really cool, and I love it. And it is just a ridiculously expressive, unique wah-wah pedal, and I just love it to bits. I really love it. Every intro jam I've done for ages, I've used this pedal. Now, I don't remember the last intro jam I did using the Vox wah-wah. I can't think. I can't actually think. Most of them are using the Ibanez. So I think that's covered everything. Like I say, it is a diva, Don't give it clean. It hates you if you give it clean. It will rebel like a teenager and go, no, I'm not doing that, and throw its toys out the pram. Give it what it wants, a dirty, clean tone. It's as happy as Larry. Who's Larry? I don't know. But yeah, so that's that. So I hope I've covered everything. I hope all this made sense, and I hope there's something you can take away there. If you do have a V2, I hope this is kind of will help you along the way. That little mod under the tread plate, that is key, because like I say, you can't just turn this thing on. You have to, you have to give it a little bit to turn it on, but it's not ridiculous. It's not difficult to turn on. It's not too easy to turn on. That's just about right. That little mod that I've done. I would recommend that highly. I really, really would. I've done that to my other one as well. It was the first thing I did actually when I got it. Before I even plugged it in, that was the first thing I did. Is I took the foot off the bottom and I put it under the tread plate. So that's it. So like I said, I'm gonna have to review the DS2 at some point, because I've never reviewed the DS2, and it's literally probably next to Mr. Gut, it's a different distortion, but it's one of my favourite distortion pedals of all time, the DS2. Anyway, that isn't about this right now. This is about this. This is one of my favourite wah-wah pedals. If not my favourite, I don't know. This and the Vox Silvertop are on par. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I hope it's been informative, and I hope it's kind of made sense, and I hope it's cleared up some things about the V2, the Ibanez WH10. I will be getting the V3 when I can afford to. Hopefully won't be too long. I don't know if it's even out yet. I don't know, but we'll see. If anybody, by the way, people with the tube, if you know it's out yet, let me know in the comment section below, because I'm not actually sure. But yeah, so I will be getting the V3, and I will do a shootout between the two, because I'm not sure about the V3 with the true bypass thing. I think this pedal, like I said, I don't like true bypass wah-wah pedals. I just don't think they sound right. I don't think the expression's there. It's a bit weird. It becomes more of an effect, more of an expressive effect. I don't know if that makes any sense. But yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. This pedal is awesome. If you can get one, get one. They're really quite hard to get hold of, but they're so worth it. And especially if you're a John Frusciante fan, this is a need. If you're a John Frusciante nut, this is a need. You can simulate this with a Vox Silvertop and an overdrive, more of a distortion pedal, but it's not the same. It's not the same. It's close, but it's not this. So this is a need. That's a need if you're a John Frusciante fanatic as well. So anyway, so let's just have a jam out now. I'll be on the wah pedal for the entirety of the outro jam, which I'm looking forward to immensely. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I will see you again on Wednesday for Q&A. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, and goodbye now. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, by the way, I'm using my Oswald John strat. It seemed appropriate for the outro jam. So, see you in a sec. Well, see you on Wednesday. Bye.